Patreon subscribers, we have a real treat for you today. It's One Take Weekly Backstage, this time for a tune from the iconic band Heart. We have in studio right here at Plumtree, Mr. Roger Fisher. Thank you so much for being here today.
What a pleasure being here at Plumtree. It's an honor for me to be here.
Thank you very much.
You guys have such a great thing going on here.
Thank you for saying that. And Roger, we want to get this out of the way right up front. Roger has his own Patreon as well. So if you have not subscribed to Roger's Patreon, you need to go do that. And it is patreon.com/Roger Fisher. This double neck
is the coolest double neck in the world. You know why?
It is.
Because there's only one.
So I was living up in Vancouver, BC.
Well, this is one part right here. I don't know if you can see that.
Zoom in on that.
Well, then the butt part is also a heart.
All my guitars have butts.
I know that.
I reshaped them myself. So I was living with the luthier, Ed Myronick, in Vancouver, BC back in, what year, 74 or something like that. And I was living with this luthier. I'm this 24-year-old hungry musician. You know, I've got this dream that I'm going to be a big star someday and all that kind of thing. And I say to Ed one day, hey, you know, let's take my SG and cut it off at the top, build out the rest of the 12-string neck, and then glue that horn back on top. And can we do that? Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Wow.
So we did that, and I learned so much about luthiery. Is that a word?
It is now.
It is
guitar
now.
making in the process, and it was really a great. I did the inlays myself.
Beautiful.
Abalone inlays, and we get it all done, and the 12-string bridge only had 6 saddles, so you couldn't adjust the intonation of each string.
Right.
So I had a very dear friend in Seattle who was Seattle's leading model maker at the time, and I asked him, can we, make some brass bridges where the 12-string bridge has individual intonation for each string? Yeah, we can do that. So we did, and so there's 2 one-of-a-kind brass bridges here. And then I was a big fan of EMG pickups at the time, so put the EMG pickups in. That's a Bartolini there, and these are rare Gibson pickups that were found at the bottom of Lake Superior. No, I don't know where these pickups came from.
So the EMGs are original to when you put this to when this guitar was built.
Well, yeah, I mean, I chose to put them in there.
Right.
Right, and then it's as SGs I think are generally mahogany, and so these are mahogany necks, and we were afraid that they wouldn't be strong enough, so we inlaid ebony inserts in there to strengthen them up.
Wow.
And yeah, so and then the paint job, I think it's 23 coats of nitrocellulose.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just such a dear member of the family. And,
yes.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, because doing research for this video, went back and you can go watch the same video. It's the actual official video for Love Alive from 1977.
I think, yeah.
And Roger is playing this exact guitar, and I wondered if you still had it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that when you walked in today, this was the one you had. And Roger, you were talking about the bridge section of Love Alive, and,
right,
and writing that.
I can remember it clearly as yesterday. So I'm living with Ed, the luthier, up in Vancouver, BC. It's a sunny summer day. It's near the end of the day. I'm up on the roof, kicked off the moss, and I'm just horsing around with my beautiful guitar, and I played those chords, and my whole body lit up with goosebumps, and
Well, especially on the 12-string, you have so many open strings ringing as well.
Yeah, so it's basically a C chord like that, only you're using the 2, 3, and 4 strings with an open A and an open E, and then up to D, and that's a D sus2, and an E sus2.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it came the day to record it down at K. Smith Studios in Seattle. And yeah, I had to really remember that being on that roof, because that moment of inspiration had to be put on the record. So then we recorded it, and then when you listen to the record and that part hits, to me it's like, you know, it works, you know, and that's the secret, I think.
It's got a lot of tension to it because you were trying not to fall off the roof. Is that what?
That's one of the secrets of recording, is that you put your soul into whatever that is, and your sexual aspect too, because that is such an important part of our being, our makeup. So you put your guts, your heart and soul into the part when you're recording it, and that totally comes through.
Yes.
Because look, these are actual vibrations.
Yes.
That are captured on vinyl, tape, whatever, and that comes through. And
This reminds me of I want to say it's a Victor Wooten quote, the world-class bass player, and he talks about people aren't going to remember the notes you play. They remember how what you play makes them feel.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I've always loved that quote.
Yeah.
From Victor.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to impart to us about this song or the recording or this guitar?
Well, I'll say about the song, I remember so clearly when Nancy and I were composing it, that should we do this little part like this or like this? And she was kind of looking up to me at the time, because I was the older guy, the experienced guy who'd been playing out on the road for years. And
Sure.
And so I would make these calls, and she would go along with them, and then she would come up with something, and I'd go, holy shit, yeah, let's do that, you know.
Yeah.
And the marriage of she and I working together was really, really magical, special.
Well, not just on this song, but throughout your guys' time
all of our
together.
work together. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And her, you know, the parts that you guys came up with, her with a lot of the chiming on the acoustic guitar.
Right. She didn't just follow a linear harmonic thing. She had these other parts that made my part have a different kind of relevance. Yeah. Yeah. Magic.
Couldn't have thought of a better way to put it than he just did right there. Once again, Love Alive, a part of our One Take Weekly catalog now. And once again, go sign up for Roger's Patreon, because there's a lot of great behind-the-scenes content there as well. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.